Hello and welcome to episode 4 of McTavish Shedcast. And to all of you who tuned in last night at 7 o'clock on the dot waiting to see us, I am so sorry. We had loads of messages afterwards from quite a few of you saying you'd had similar problems. I think everybody's doing so many live shows and Facebook was a bit overwhelmed, but I'm so pleased that my guests, Barbara Bryceland, the phenomenal singer and entertainer, and ZARA JANJUA, who is writer, comedian and producer, they've joined me again tonight. Thank you, ladies, so much. It's lovely to see you.
Hello. It's nice to see you too.
Now, ZARA, if I can start with you, how are you feeling? You've not been great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling good. I about 2 weeks ago started to develop symptoms, and I think they would still be classed as mild. But I had everything from fever to sweats to headaches. I went through the whole process for about 2 weeks, so I've been isolating now for almost 3. But I'm living in London at the moment, and I haven't been able to leave because obviously started developing these symptoms. And so I think, the place I stay in London is actually it's like the epicenter really. That's more cases reported in Lambeth than anywhere else. So it would be very likely that I have had it, although I have to say I haven't had tests done. But it's now been, about 2 weeks since I started developing the symptoms, and I still don't have any smell or taste. But, I think once I got over the tiredness and everything, I started to come through the other side, and, I'm feeling much better now, starting to get back into work.
If we can look for any silver lining in this cloud, it's the fact that you delayed going back home to your parents by a couple of days.
Well, I was going to say it's that I lost £6, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think, definitely very, very relieved that when at the time I was thinking about coming back to Scotland, and my dad's had heart bypass surgery and he's got diabetes, and, mum and dad are both in their 70s. So I'm delighted that I did decide to stay here, and just kind of waiting it out and hoping that, the family are all well. It is really hard being away from them, but I think everyone's feeling that just now as well.
Now, Barbara, how are you getting on? You might not be able to go out and do all your live gigs, but you're still entertaining people, aren't you?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. I started doing live shows just to connect with my friends who I see on a regular basis, but also to keep remembering the words to all the songs and keep it all going. So it's turned out to be, we're having kind of thousands of people tuning in on a Saturday live at 5, and they're all bringing their drinks, and they're all sending me pictures of themselves partying, and they're actually getting dressed up, which I love, putting their lippy on and putting their brassiers on. And
and that's quite good. That's a bit of a novelty at this time.
I'm not on the front line, but I'm doing a bit. Women are now reaching for their brassiers and dancing in the living room with glasses of wine, big bottles of wine.
We've got quite a few lovely ladies joining us at the moment. Lisa Colerane's watching, Fiona Hughes, Isabel Rutter, Sam Taggart. Now, I think you did Craig Taggart's 40th birthday party. I think you've done a lot of those parties that are slightly raucous. I've seen some photos that have been sent in.
So funny. So some people love to go all out with their parties, but this couple didn't. And Craig wanted to have a party in the house, but we want it to be a black tie event, and they want it to be like a Shirley Bassey theme. So I showed up with the big fake hairdo and the gold dress and the gold boa, and my husband went in and set up earlier, so I just kind of strutted up there, kind of not a big house, but a normal size house, and started belting out Goldfinger at the top of my voice. And if you've heard my voice, it's a flipping loud noise. So that was it. And we just partied the whole night in the house. It was actually very memorable, because lots of the parties I do kind of are quite similar, but it was fantastic. I loved it.
Well, for anybody who's tuning in who hasn't heard your voice, you are going to sing us out with an absolute belter at the end. ZARA and I are really looking forward to that. Let me just say a few more hellos, because there's Pauline Collins, Marion Begg, Anne-Marie Dixon says, hello, Barbara. And everybody saying, well done getting online tonight. Thank you guys for your support. Hi, Peter. Nice to know that you're watching. And Barbara, entertaining all of us, your merchant friends. Monica, hello. Nikki Kerr. Isabel says, it's a long time since I heard the word brassiere. I can't even remember how to spell it. Thank the Lord for autocorrect.
That is funny. A brassiere.
Now, Zara, I first met you when you were a presenter, and it has to be said, you were one of the most creative and resourceful presenters I've ever met, and reporters out on the hoof, if you pardon the pun. You got into trouble health and safety wise a few times, didn't you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I always went a bit rogue, Rachel. You'll remember that. I think at the time I was working for STV, obviously. I initially started as a news presenter, but moved across to STV2 or STV Edinburgh when that launched. And I mean, I'm still a little bit like this. I think it's just my personality. But yeah, there was one time in particular, I love that you say on the hoof, it didn't pass me by, your little pun. I was then to cover the Hopetoun House trials up at Hopetoun House. And when I got there, I found out that Princess Sarah Phillips was doing the dressage competition. And we had loads of bits of filming to do through the day. But for some reason, I just had it in my head, I want to speak to Sarah Phillips. I know that I can get an interview with her. I have no idea how I was going to get an interview. And so I was determined. And I knew that she was on the course and that she would be coming off in about 20 minutes. I had 20 minutes to try and figure out a plan. And I managed to find someone that lent me a pair of jodhpurs that were 2 sizes too small and gave me a horse, which I couldn't drive. Do you drive horses? I don't know. So,
Right.
I had muffin tops spilling out over the top, and I was trying to drive this horse. And the woman had said to me, "Do you know how to work the horse?" And I went, "Yeah, that's one before." And I went for a lesson, I'm sure. And very quickly after getting on the horse, she realised I hadn't a bloody clue what I was doing. So she tried to help me, and I managed to saddle up to Zara Phillips just as she was coming off the dressage course. And I think that she saw that I was completely out of control. She tried to help, and I think off the back of that, she just felt a bit sorry for me, and she gave us an interview. So that was, I mean, it worked, but I definitely got my knuckles wrapped about the health and safety. There wasn't a risk assessment about me being on a horse. So.
And your red carpet events weren't much better, were they?
Rachel, I don't feel like you're the right kind of spokesperson. I'm going
to big you up towards the end, Zara. We're building to a crescendo, don't worry.
You're talking about, I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the fact that I was sent to interview Michael Fassbender, who I fancied the pants of. And I did too. And I think the first question I put to him was, welcome to Edinburgh. Is this your first time in the city? To which he said, yeah, I've always wanted to come here. And then I sort of went, oh, well, I think I've just asked you if you come here often. And he just looked at me and went, right. And it was completely downhill from there. I tried desperately to flirt with him. He thought I was a complete moron, and I don't think we could actually use much of that interview. It's probably one of the most embarrassing interviews I've ever done in my life. Don't fancy him anymore.
I don't blame you. Now, Barbara, I've met you out and about at many of your gigs. A lot of people will probably know you from X Factor and The Voice, but where did you start off?
I started off, let me think, singing in the pubs and the clubs. I won a competition years ago. That's the joke. For all I've went in for all these singing competitions, I've never won them, but I won one. I did win one years ago, and that started me on the road, a snooker hall years ago in Stirling, and I won that, and I was young and very, very slim and very at myself, and it was footballers that were the judges. So I won that one. So I got 500 quid, went out and bought a PA system, and I've been on the road for 32 years. So the X Factor and the Voice stuff that was much, much later, 20 odd years later, in fact, that came along. So yeah, it's been great. It's just crazy life.
So tell us about the X Factor then, because it was right at the beginning.
I went into for the X Factor when it was years ago, when it was like 125,000, I think, went in for it that year. And we went in, and I was a very slim 42-year-old brunette at the time with the big curly hair. And so I went in for that, and I think it was like Shan Osborne and Louis Walsh. No, Louis Walsh. No, what's his name? Louis, the other guy. I can't remember.
Was it the dancer guy who keeps on doing the high kicks?
No, it was me, Louis, the Irish guy.
That's Louis Walsh. That's Louis Walsh.
Is it Louis Walsh? I thought I got that wrong there. Sorry, I'm bloody my age. But it was that long ago, and Danny Minogue was secretly going with Simon Cowell at the time, and you could definitely pick up a chemistry at that time. It'll come out in a book later on. So yeah, so that's who I met first. So yeah, got down to boot camp, and then done all that. It was just a fun, it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. Didn't take it all too seriously, but delighted that I did it and got as far as I did. And you know what it was great for? The punters loved it. Everyone who'd been come to the gigs all these years, we were all on cloud nine. So for that, it was brilliant. I highly recommend it.
But you were the envy of many women when you went on The Voice and got picked by Tom Jones.
Yes, well, I love Tom Jones. We all love Tom Jones. But the thing is, the young people didn't know who Tom Jones, because this is the thing, when you go in for these shows, there he is. With Tom Jones, a lot of the young people, like the teenagers who were going in for The Voice for the first season, a lot of them really didn't know who Tom Jones was. Now, that's really hard to believe. It's like now when I go out and sing a song, I'm going to sing a song by the legend Barbara Streisand, and the young kids will go, who's Barbara Streisand? And it just blows my mind that they don't know who these big stars are. So that was the thing. So I went in for that. And I think what had happened was, when the judges were pressing their buzzers, the young ones were turning around, I'm not going to go with him because I don't know him. So all the young ones were going for the young judges. And then I was fortunate enough to go with the fantastic Tom Jones. So it worked out just the way I wanted it. In fact, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. And he was superb. And he's such an amazing singer in his own right.
And you got a kiss?
I got a snog off him as well. Yeah, it was great. I got a snog off Danny.
Gentleman.
Did. Sorry.
He seems like such a gent.
I don't know, because he's got a past. Let's face it. He's got a past.
Not like you, Barbara.
No. My lovely husband there.
Now, let me do some...
I've been married to 3 times.
Well, you've got it right now, haven't you, with your lovely husband?
Oh, I love my husband, yes. He's fantastic.
We'll talk about him in a moment. He's absolutely wonderful. Let me just catch up on a few of the people who are tuning in. Doreen Feckley, hello, ladies.
From Dundee.
She didn't say strangely, Barbara. I haven't got her details down here, but everybody's loving the horse story. Shirley Mullen saying, looking good, ladies. We've got Hillary tuning in from Lancashire. Frank Cronin also tuning in. Everybody's going, it was Walsh. It was Walsh.
It was Walsh.
And hello to Stuart as well, who's watching, Stuart Churchill. Now, Zara, this is where it's great that we don't have Ofcom watching us, because I think the transition that took you from presenter to stand-up was truly wonderful. Try and keep it relatively clean, but just tell us briefly how you made that transition.
Well, I was working on the Late Show at the time, which was on STV. I was a reporter for the programme, and part of my remit was to come up with ideas for things to do. Usually strands, and one of the things I decided to do was a beauty strand, so like trying really unusual beauty regimes and stuff. So like decided to, for example, we got like West Brewery to donate a couple of kegs, and I filled a bathtub and had a beer bath, because it's actually really good for your hair. It's good for your hair. But one of the things I decided to get done was a colonic, and it didn't really go to plan. It went wrong. It went terribly wrong. It's probably one of the worst stories of my life. When there's a camera in a room and they've got a tube and they're waiting I thought that she's quite sort of far forward, and any minute she'll move, and it went in the wrong place basically, and then it got worse, but I won't tell you how. Anyway, I was telling the story to a comedian.
Barbara's face.
Sorry, Brad. So I was telling this story to a comedian called Jan Tarasorn, who'd come in to do the programme that night. He was one of the guests. And I told him the full story, and he went, "That's brilliant. Do you want to take a 10-minute spot on my Fringe gig? We've got these open slots for guest comedians." And I thought, that sounds terrifying. I'd absolutely love to. And then my boss at the time, Rachel, Paul, your husband, when he found out that I was doing that, he was my boss at the time, and he said, "That sounds great, let's send a camera." So they sent a camera along to the very first gig, and actually it just went really well since then. One gig led to another, which led to another, and before I knew it, I was headlining and doing, festivals and things across Scotland. And then last year I wrote a sitcom and put it to the BBC for the BBC Comedy Writers' Room and got into that. So it's just, it's been growing and growing, but I owe it all to a colonic in the wrong place.
And a woman's lack of female anatomy.
Well, I'm still shocked and wondering what's so wrong with it that it looks upside down.
Zara, is that on YouTube? Can we get to see that on YouTube? I want to see that.
I've got that clip. I do actually play it at dinner parties, so you'll have to come for tea.
Right, okay.
And I'll play it when you're having your dessert.
Oh, Barbara, we were laughing when we were chatting yesterday about the people that you meet when you're out and about, and some of the ladies that you've met over the years, they have zero filter.
See, the whole absolute truth is, I feel really, really lucky over the years because I've met the very best of people in my working life, I have to admit. But there is that percent who come up and kind of think, because I don't know if it's because you're on a stage or whatever, but they think they can just say anything and it's okay. So people will come up and say, "Oh, you're no much to look at, but you're a fabulous singer." And other people will come up and say things like, the best laugh, I was sitting with my gay boyfriends at a funeral and we were talking about just being on The Voice. And of course, I'm a chubster on The Voice, big blonde on The Voice. And they says, I says, "Oh, but the camera puts £10 on you." And somebody chirped up and says, "Well, there must have been 5 cameras on you." So I know, but I really think that's quite funny. I use that quite a lot when I'm at my gigs, that gag. So people do kind of think it's okay, and you know what? It really doesn't bother me. I see the funny side of it because I do love the characters.
You can just let that bounce off you. I think you shouldn't have to let that bounce off you, but I think you're incredible that you do. You've got such a good attitude.
I like people. I genuinely like people, even the ones that I probably don't have a lot in common with. But it's okay. That's okay. I learn a lot from them, and it's just a riot. And I sing in a wee pub every Saturday afternoon called Merchant Pride. And when I did the telly stuff, people said, "Oh, you're going to have to stop singing this pub." And I says, "Well, I'd miss this pub. Genuinely miss singing in here. It's like a miniature club. It's got a dance. It's got a stage, it's got a dance floor, and it's a nice square shape and lights. And the atmosphere is a party atmosphere is to die for. So people are feeling a wee bit down and fed up, go in and they think, "Oh my gosh, this place is jumping. We're all up dancing at 5:00 in the afternoon." So I kept it in. So then I go in and I do a big event on a Saturday night or else a Sunday or a Friday or whatever else is going on. But I've still kept that one going. And I was so glad I did because I love the people who go in and you get them. They come from all over the world into this and it's not fancy. It's really not a fancy place. But they come in and they say, "Barbara, first port of call, would miss it. It's great in here." So full of characters and the whole place is bouncing at 5:00. We can go home and get a Chinese or an Indian in the way home and open up another glass of wine and sit and watch the X Factor after you. So they've got their day all sorted. So it's great. Only thing is in the summer nights, they fall out the pub really drunk at 8:00 and it looks bad.
But they've had a great time. Barbara, I'm going to ask you some more about your career in a moment, but Zara, one bit of your career that we missed out that was actually quite surreal and glam is Loose Women and This Morning, and the guests, because they get big name guests on those shows, don't
Oh
they?
gosh, yeah. So I left STV just almost 2 years ago, and I decided that I wanted to come to London because I hadn't expected to have a sort of point in my career that I could choose to do that leap and to do that move. And the time had come, and I just thought, at that point we had just won an RTS award for Live at 5, which was for best daytime. And I thought, in terms of daytime programs, well, I know, yeah, it was good. We were delighted. And then, like a week later, we find out that the whole channel was being taken off air. So, I thought I have to react to this, and what do I want to do? And I thought I'd love to go and work on the biggest daytime program in the UK. So I went for a number of sort of meetings with talent managers, and I managed to get down to go and work in the production team, both with This Morning and with Loose Women. So I was producing both programs. Started on Loose Women, and I was just so amazed to work on a program that had such a big budget. So, I mean, the guests that we had on were just amazing. I remember the first Loose Women show that I was doing. It was we had Ross Kemp, who was being almost breastfed by Brian Connolly. Very strange story, but it had come from the fact that I think a nurse out in America had, she was trying to help a father who, I think the mother of the baby was in a coma, and he wanted to bond with the child. And so she created this bra to help him feed the baby. And we were sort of having a discussion about it in the studio. And I remember just sitting in the gallery as it was happening and seeing Brian Connolly squirting milk out of this bra at Ross Kemp and thinking, I feel so at home here. This is perfect. But it was also a great program for connecting me with, at the time it connected me with a number of great people. And I was looking after Whoopi Goldberg when she came to do the show, which was just, incredible. So yeah, getting to speak to her, meet with her directly and looking after her was just amazing. Mel B, obviously when she was on the program as well. And then being with This Morning when we won an NTA, and being at the NTAs with the team and just being able to celebrate and support what I'd come to love and just what was an incredible program. It's an absolute powerhouse, and they run such a tight ship, and it taught me a lot working there. So yeah, it was bags of fun.
Now, Barbara, yesterday when I was chatting with you, I'd asked you, I said, I believe you did the cruise ships, and you had to correct me. I hadn't got it quite right.
Well, people say that to me, Barbara. Well, see, when you've all those years in the cruise ships, I have to stop and think, no, that's one thing I really didn't do was cruise ships. But I did do a thing. My friend Martin McLaren, he's probably tuned in, and he was the guy who put me in for The Voice, and he's just like my gay brother, and he's outrageous. And he called me up and he says, Barbara, I've got a new job. He says, I'm the head guy with super fast ferries. And what we basically do is we do drunken weekends, mini cruises over to Belgium. And we just, Babs would be banging for this, get her on. And so what had really happened, so it was also a budget cruise. So people are paying like 50 quid to go away for 2 nights. So you can imagine. So they've got their carry out in one hand and a change of knickers in the other hand. That's all they're taking. And so you can imagine the calibre of people on super fast ferries. So by the time I went on at 8 o'clock at night, they were really drunk, but up for a really good party. So one of the nights was an ABBA night. They all come. It was a 70s night, and they all come with all the ABBA gear and stuff, and it was tremendous. And then the next night, I think I did was a Valentine's weekend where the couples had probably got drunk and fallen out in their cabins. So you had lots of girls on their own and guys on their own, and there was one woman who was lying kind of upside down on a sofa with her big belly all out, and I'm doubled over laughing at the state of some of them, but it was great. It was just great fun. So super fast ferries is my cruise ship story.
It's all character building. Let me just say a few more hellos to people who are watching. Edward Reed, who is a guest on... Isn't he lovely? He's watching, so hello Edward. And Frida Martin saying great show. Jean Barr, go Barbara. People asking, am I back on the awful rosé that I found in the garage? Yes I am, and it is, and it's now warm. It's not great. The Pink Wheelbarrow saying OMG What a colonic story, Zara. I think there'll be a few people repeating that story. Laura Boyd, an old colleague of yours, watching. Margaret Hughes watching as well. Babs, you're beautiful, says Yvette Meldrum.
Thank you, Yvette.
Karen Padden saying, hi, Babs. Merchant Pride, says Nikki Kirk. Can't wait to go again. We'll meet again. I met my partner in there. Thanks, Babs. And everybody's saying, what a great pub. Lorraine Campbell says, great pub, Elaine. Great pub. And Joanne Corrigan, I love my Merchant Pride gang. Absolutely brilliant. Barbara, one of my abiding memories of you is the shoe thing. You buy the most ridiculous shoes I've ever seen.
I have a friend who owns a really lovely boutique called Catwalk, and she's a very classy lady, very classy, and she's wonderful. And she sponsors me a lot and gets me beautiful dresses. And then she'll come out with the shoes. I said, no, the shoes are too small. I need the big killer heels. I said, so I always come out. But now I have to admit, in my 50s, I just can't do it anymore. So as long as I walk on stage with the killer heels, I'm fine. But then my husband ruffles in my bag, pulls out my my silver fit flops, and then I'll get my wee chunky feet into them, and then that's me. I'm partying the whole rest of the night. It's just how I work. It's just how I do it, and that way I can.
They get the money's worth with you as well. When you're on stage for hours, aren't you?
Yeah, I could do up to 3 hours on the stage. In Merchant Pride, I do 3 40-minute spots. I do a bit of patter as well, welcome them all in, ask them where they're all from, the usual stuff. But then my job is really to get their hands up in there and doing their thing. So I do a disco set in between as well, a DJ set as well, and we're doing bits and pieces and stuff. And it's great to see. So they've got the grannies, the mums, the daughters, all out drinking and partying together with their various gins and their Prosecco's, and some of them are really dressed up to the nines. Wonderful people coming out, and they're just having a ball. And I thought, well, we're all Jock Tamson's bairns, as they would say. So it very much is all about that. So as long as I look the part at first, and then I can let myself go halfway through the night with the fit flops, I'm a happy woman. And they've come actually line it up. I line them up now. So you'll usually see my flip flops at the side of the stage before I start a gig.
Zara, does this make you homesick listening to the wild nights out in Glasgow and Scotland?
Do you know, honestly, I miss Glasgow a lot, but I was actually thinking about Pride because last year I ended up going to New York to cover Stonewall 50 on the UK's first Pride flight. It was Virgin that were doing it, and I was directing the video for Virgin. And I have never done Pride before, and I thought, what a bloody amazing time to choose to go and get involved in a party in the middle of New York. And I actually, having heard your stories of Pride in Glasgow, I think I'd much rather be in Glasgow than in New York, though. I mean, it was lovely, but it was just, Glasgow. Glasgow has so much to offer, and people know how to party in Glasgow as well, don't they? I think you do too, by the sounds of things, Babs.
I think we have people from all over the world who come and they bring their friends and it's just a whole new experience for them when they come into the Merchant Pride. But I see the Glasgow audience, you really can't beat it. You cannot beat a fantastic Glasgow audience. And again, I've done Prides. I've done George's Square with 6,000 people out front and had them all singing at the top of their lungs because they are out to enjoy them. They work hard, they party hard, they're out to enjoy themselves and have fun. And you can't ask, as an entertainer, you can't ask for any more than that, to be honest. It's great. Love it.
Well, if we're talking about high camp, Barbara, we've got a picture of you in Panto. Now, this was a new experience. Yeah! This was a new experience for you, wasn't it?
That was frightening because what happens with Panto, and I thought Panto was going to be dead easy. I can't lie. I thought, that'll be, people always say to me, you'd be great in Panto. And I thought, that'll be easy, I can do that. But turning over a show that big in 10 days is even if you've learned your lines and your lines are all down, learning where to stand and learning. So quite often I would stand in the wrong bits and the dancers would dance into the back. And there was one time when I came out when it was Cinderella and there's a wee noise they make for you coming out, a wee noise. And it was a dulled down, and I thought, was that me? Anyway, I'm just going to get, but that was actually for a teddy bear that was supposed to come out on stage. So I came out like about 10 minutes too early to deliver my lines, and the whole place erupted. So I think the great thing about Panta is you can get it wrong. It's just as enjoyable when you get it right or get it wrong. But I loved playing that part, and I learned so much with a brilliant cast. It was great.
Now, we've got somebody messaging in, Joanne Corrigan. She's bringing us up to speed on some of the real facts behind the panto. What about the time you fell off the stage at Wicked?
Oh no, that wasn't the panto. That I was doing a Shirley Bassey tribute, and so I've got so many lovely gay boyfriends, and one of them was John Devaney, and he said, "Barbara, I've got a fantastic Shirley Bassey wig for you. It's better than that old Shirley Bassey wig." So he gave me it. Well, I looked absolutely hellish in this wig, but it was one of these weekends where I was about 4 gigs on, and I was exhausted. Anyway, so I put this wig on, and I looked hellish. I thought, I'm just going to go and do this Shirley Bassey thing and just go for it. That was it. Showbiz. Show must go on. So I went out and started it. So I was singing away, and it was going down a bomb. The show was going down well. And there was one guy up the front who was sitting with his face tripping him. And I thought, I'm going to get right up to him and sing right in front of him and see if I can get some sort of reaction. So as I stepped off the stage, I slipped right up in the air like that. And I slid under his table. And I'm a big woman, and the bang, the noise went down. And then when I got up, the wig was like that. And I actually couldn't get up for laughing because I thought I might dribble here. I couldn't, you're just dying. And the whole place is in an absolute, it was a sellout show with Johnny Lee Memphis, and it was the Las Vegas show, it was called. So here's me lying there, a big woman, long silver dress, silver boa, terrible Shirley Bassey wig. And so anyway, we did the gig, come home, exhausted, and I thought, I'm delighted that's all over, to be honest. But it was a laugh, but it was too much. I'm going home, that's the end of it. So
Dory,
get home, and they videoed it and sent me it on the video, and I thought I was going to die laughing because it was the funniest look. So I'm going to send you that video, Zara, and you send me your video.
Now, Zara, I promised that I would actually big you up because I've ridiculed you for all the things because of your absolute get up and go and just not letting anything stop you. But this is what I love about you. Not only have you suddenly developed into a stand-up comic, you've gone onto the BBC Writers' Room, you've also got a cookery column in the paper.
Oh yeah, well yes. So I've been cooking for a long time. I think being brought up in a Pakistani house, we were just used to seeing, food being prepared fresh every night, and trying different recipes, and I always loved cooking. And actually being in isolation just now, it's the one thing that I'm really enjoying is looking forward to standing in the kitchen for 2 hours, not least because you get 2 hours of standing, and I find that I'm sitting a lot at the moment, or like lying down. But I started writing up a lot of recipes. I think I've been posting a lot of pictures of food because that's what I do, because I'm a millennial, and that's what happens is you take a picture of what you've eaten and you post it, and that's what happens. And people just started getting in touch asking for the recipes, so it progressed from there, and people were getting in touch and asking me to get involved with different programs or do different interviews with them for the paper, and that then led to me writing up some recipes. So a lot of it is just experimental. The one thing I hate doing when I'm cooking is following a recipe, because I'm not a big fan of rules, as you know. So I do like to have a look at different recipes and then just do my own thing. But I do find right now it's bringing me a lot of peace, just being in the kitchen and cooking. And also my mum did say to me, she's quite morbid at times, and she went, Hen, I'm going to die soon, and those recipes are going to die with me, so you better hurry up and learn. So I have been cooking And I've been learning all my sort of family food over the last 3 weeks. But as I say, I don't have any taste. So at the moment, I'm living with a comedian and actress, Maddie Ann Holt. So she's got a little scorecard. So every night she's tasting, whether it's like a biryani or a courgette curry or whatever it is I'm cooking. I can't taste a thing. So she's grading them. And then once I get my sense of smell and taste back, I'll cook them again and I'll compare notes. See if they're any good.
Wonderful. Let me just, before you're going to sing us out, Barbara, in just a couple of minutes, let me say we've got so many people watching who want to pass on messages. Just going back to your Shirley Bassey wig, Joanne, Doreen McLaughlin said, I remember that instant. She just got up and carried on. We've got Rosemary McKenna watching. Hi, Rosemary. Stuart Bryson is watching. Is that your Stuart?
No, that's Stuart from Tenerife.
Oh, it's Stuart from Tenerife. Okay, you're not married to him. Ginger M, Zara, you look fabulous. I think Ginger is a friend of both of you ladies as well.
Hi.
Yes. John McDowell, great show tonight, Rachel. Loving the guests. Ginger's also saying, Barbara, I love your hair. You were blonde until a few weeks ago. Wise decision, Barbara.
I know, because with the lockdown now, I wouldn't be able to get the hairdresser, and my roots would be definitely like a Lily Savage lookalike thing, and so I'm glad that I've kind of went brunette. I think I might go blonde after this, though, again, coming out blonde after the lockdown.
Well, I think that's all we've got time for tonight, ladies. It has been so lovely to have you on. Zara, what are you, before we get sung out by Barbara, what are you really looking forward to doing after this all finishes?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I mean, I'm a single girl right now, so I think probably getting back into the dating is quite important.
Yeah, going on a couple of restaurant dates with a man. Is that
okay?
Right. Okay, that's.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I actually really want to see my family. This is the longest time that I've been away from them since I moved to London, because I've been coming back up to present some podcasts. So I do a podcast series up in Glasgow.
Oh, you've had some fabulous guests as well on that, haven't you?
Yeah, we've done really well with the guests that we've been having. So it has brought me back to Glasgow. We had Judy Murray at the start of this series. And I mean, the series is about helping to connect women with inspirational leaders and people who have either started or grown businesses, or who have fabulous careers and great stories to tell. And so I have been back up in Glasgow quite a lot doing that. We have been doing some of them down here in London. Coming up, we've got Jenny Faulkner, Kirsty Wark, Charlene Spiteri. There's some great people on the podcast, so it's ask for more if you want to have a wee look online. But yeah, I have been coming up loads, and I miss my family. I just kind of want to have that family dinner. On Friday we always do a family dinner at the house, and my mum cooks, and I have my niece and my nephew there, and my sister-in-law, and just everyone I love. And I think that'll be lovely. But second to that will definitely be dating. I'm getting back into that for sure.
Getting back into the saddle.
I
hope you remember how to drive, Zara. That's all I'm saying.
You don't forget, Rachel.
John McDowell, Angela Robertson, thank you for watching. Marie Brawley says, hi, girls. And Anne-Marie Dixon says, Zara, you're an absolute hoot. And Jacqueline Demure says, hey, girls, loving the show tonight. Right, on that note, Barbara, please tell us, what are you going to sing us out with tonight?
I am going to sing the big gay anthem, I Am What I Am.
Yes.
And this is for all my family, my Merchant Pride family, who I look forward to seeing y'all when we get back after all this. And can I just say a big hello and a big hug to Mia and Craig, my wee grandkids as well. Love you, Grandma loves you. I miss kissing them. That's what I'll be doing when I get out of here. Right, are we ready? Are you two going to get up and dance?
Yep.
Get up and dance. Here we go.
Ready.
Hope it's not right. I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come, take a look. You can give me the hook or a standing ovation. And it's my world that I want to have just a little pride in. Not a place I choose to hide in. Life is not worth it you can shout out, I am what I am. Yeah! Are you dancing? I am what I am. And I don't need praise, and I don't need pity. I'll beat my own drum. Some say it's noise, but I say it's pretty. And so what? If I love you, sparkle, and you spangle, why not try and see things from a different angle? Your life's just a sham until you can shout out, I am what I am. Come on, ladies, I want to see the hands in the air. I am what I am. But I am, needs no excuses. I'll deal my own death. Sometimes yes, sometimes it juices. And it's one life, and there's no return, there's no deposit. One life, time to open up the closet. Your life's just a sham until you can shout out, I am what I am. Yes, I am. Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, Barbara, that was
Fantastic.
that was absolutely wonderful. Right, going to just round up with a few people who really appreciated that. Jean, great show. Cade Lennox, wonderful, laughing lots. Margaret Jones, looking amazing. Hi from Diane Armitt, who says, fabulous. Anne-Marie Dixon again, go on. Hi Denise and Caroline who are watching. Go on yourself, Barbara, says Jean. Lorna McIntyre, amazing, Barbara, cheering us up as always. Another fun show, thank you very much, says Stuart. Same from Caroline. John McDowell, shake your chamois. Fiona, what a voice. That was great fun. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. People can't wait for Pride to open back up again. Thank you very much, says Alice, to both of the ladies. And see you in the Merchant Pride, says Sam Taggart. And for getting for the record, I will never be getting a colonic, Zara. So thank you very much. And bye, ladies. And thank you, Barbara and Zara, for joining us. It's been a lovely evening. Good night.
So thank you so much, Rachel. It's been so nice to chat to both of you. And I can't wait to do Pride. I'm going to come and do Pride with you, Bev.
Right, let's do lunch when this is
Bye-bye.
all over. Bye. Love you. Bye.